Hey everybody, you've got Daniela here with Adventures in Consciousness, and welcome to another belly dance, sacred dance, divine movement, plus size tutorial. So today we're going to be going through one of my favorite things to do, which is walking movement and playing with your weight distribution. This can be one of the more challenging aspects of dance for those of us who have gotten used to dancing in one place. Starting to use your feet and utilize the floor, as they say, is, along with using your hands, one of the biggest leaps in advancement and using the practice that you can be making as a dancer. So today we're going to be going over how you can play with distributing your weight across your feet and being able to practice certain moves on one leg and things like that, as well as practicing walking around and using those moves as well. So I'm going to go change the music and we're going to get started. Okay, so I'm also assuming that you have done a little bit of stretch or a little bit of dance warm-up. So if you haven't, check out those links above and you'll be able to dance stretch with me or get in a quick, fun morning yoga workout to get everything nice and stretched out. So we're going to start, of course, in our belly dance position, which, if you will recall, is your feet nice and hip width apart, a little bend in the knees. We're going to be tilting those hips just in, lifting the chest up, broadening those shoulders, neck long, and you're ready to go. So the first thing you want to play with when you are working with changing around the weight on your feet, and I'll actually practice this to go turn the volume down a little bit, is you want to just start playing with your weight. So you're going to be listening to the music and shifting your weight back and forth. You don't necessarily need to be doing any hip work or anything like that yet. If it helps to kind of over-exaggerate and play with it, right, as you get your weight established on both feet, you can certainly do that. But ultimately, you just want to be able to shift your weight around, right, without losing your balance. And this has to do a lot with using your feet, gripping your feet to the floor. One of my best friends, some of his best advice to me ever, whenever you get upset or anything like that, is to feel your feet on the floor. He just says, feel your feet, and that like takes you back into your body, and it's a wonderful bit of advice, and I love it. And it works great here. So if you ever feel like you're losing balance, feel your feet. Feel your feet on the ground. That's why I really love to dance in bare feet, especially to get started. Socks are okay, shoes, but if you can really get your feet on the ground and play with your weight on the heels, on the balls, gently rolling your ankles and things like that, so you can play with the inside of your feet like this, or the outside, right? So if you just want to play around with moving your weight around gently on your ankles and your knees, right? Shifting that weight from one side forward and back. So now that we've got our ankles and everything all nice and warmed up, we'll practice a little walkie poo. Back up here for you, right? So when you're moving with moves and you're adding them to walking, it's essentially what you're doing is leaning the move into where your weight would naturally fall. And you can practice with this in a lot of different ways. And you can also practice the opposite, where you're doing the move on the leg that doesn't have any weight to it, right? So it's fun to play around with either one. But we're going to get started listening to the beat and just walking back and forth. I know it seems really basic, but if you can do this, and you can do this without thinking, you'll be in a really good place to just bust out a dance whenever you want to, okay? So start the count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So So at this point, if you want to and you're ready, you can start adding some moves to it. If you're familiar with the shimmy, you can add your shimmy to it. You can get that going. And walk. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? You can play it with that like that. Again, as I say, one of my favorite things to do is to practice dance while I'm doing the other mundane tasks that we have to do in life, like washing dishes, or cooking dinner, or vacuuming, or whatever. And that is a perfect place, right? You just imagine yourself vacuuming, boring as all fuck. You get some music on, you can get those hips going, you can get that practice, get that walking going, huh? Right? So that's one of the ways that I incorporate the dance into my life so that I can still get it in, still get some practice in, even though we're all busy as hell, right? So let's see what we've got here. Let's switch it up a little bit. And we're going to play into working on that balance, okay? So here's one of the things that if you really want to make sure that you're using your muscles to drive the movement, one of the best ways to practice that is on one leg, okay? So if you want, you can just tuck it up behind yourself. You can practice tree pose. Well, I wouldn't do this because you don't really have a lot of movement, right? So you just lift it up. I mostly just bring it in front of me, right? Just a little something, kind of tuck that leg, that foot, right in next to that knee, just kind of like rest it there, right? And you want to bring your hips, this is best to practice in a, mirror, right? And want to make sure those hips are nice and level. 2 secs. Okay, and we're back. My phone was about to die. Gotta love doing these things from home, hey? Okay, so we were working on playing with our weight distribution and being able to do our moves on one leg. So again, with the mirror thing, it's best to do it in the mirror, or if you can do it kind of like how I'm and record yourself, that's a really good way to be able to watch it back if you can actually do that. Stand to watch yourself, because I know how it is. And be able to see if you've got your hips level, you know, or if you're overcompensating, things like that. Really great tool for that. So again, let's just practice really quick. We're gonna listen for the music and just practice a little bit of a hip lift on one leg. If you haven't checked out the hip lift tutorial, the hip work tutorial, you can check that out right above me and get into the dance with us. So you definitely, if you're not familiar with it, want to check that out and get familiar with that movement before you try and do it on one leg, because we don't want you completely toppling over, eating shit, and then getting yourself injured, right? So, so definitely check that out. Okay, so we're gonna listen for the music, get our leg up and out of the way, right? So you can see it's all tucked back there. But my hips are level, right? So you want to make sure your hips are level, because otherwise you're not going to have any room. Because if your hips already up here, tucking your leg up, you got nowhere to go. Okay. So hips nice and level. Make sure you have belly dance posture. Get that bend in the knee, chest lifted, shoulders nice and straight, neck lifted, right? You got your hips all nice and loose. Got that pendulum loose, right? And you're just playing, as you see, I almost fall over there, right? And you're just playing. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you need to give yourself a break and step down, shake it out, do it. All right? Good time to switch legs. Always practice 2 sides, both sides, you guys. See? Why you gotta practice? Right? So get your leg all tucked up, hips nice and level. Got my other leg up here now. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's as easy as it could be. You could be standing there stirring something. You could be standing there folding laundry. You know, all of these, again, mundane tasks that we have to do is a great time to incorporate a lot of these things in practice. So again, it can be done with a shimmy, right? Playing around with where your leg is. If you're good at a shimmy and you're driving it from your muscles and not from your legs, you play around with that weight distribution, right? Woo! And play around with it, okay? Let me tone that bad boy down. All right, so that is more or less the quick and easy and dirty, all about being able to play with your weight, being able to listen to the music and easily incorporate with walking, with movement, hip lifts, little shimmies and things like that. And of course, it's really great too to practice simple other things, other combinations, layers, like walking and doing chest shimmy, which if you haven't seen that video, right? So this is great. It's patting the head and rubbing the stomach at the same time. Because the more you can do this, the more your muscles will have that muscle memory to be able to do that movement whenever the mood strikes. So from me to you, here from Daniela at Adventures in Consciousness. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it and enjoyed it. If you have any comments or questions about particular moves that you'd like me to see, me break down, I could talk, you guys. You know me, I could talk. Drop them in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, and all of that wonderful stuff. Thank you, as always, for your support and wonderful comments. I love you guys so much. I will see you next time.